My name is Toussaint Morrison, and the reason why we organized this march today is specifically because of the narrative of black folks. And Peter, you can turn it down all the way. I still got some music on. You can kill it, yeah. The narrative of black folks is told in a way that is very suitable for white folks. Our story is so important to us. Our history is so important to us. And one of the best ways to hegemonize or to dehumanize a group of people is to take their story away, to take their history away, to take their origin story away, to remove that from their identity, and then tell them that they started somewhere else. And then moving forward, continue to control that story. And so when, even in school, we start with black people at slavery, that's problematic. When we start with white folks as conquerors, that's problematic. And it's changing the way that we perceive ourselves today. Even leading up to today. When our story is filmed and it's seen, and we see the travesty, we see the violence, we see a modern day lynching, we can still be told that that wasn't murder. We can still be told that what we saw isn't what we saw. We can still be told that our emotions, our emotional reaction is savage. We can still be told that we have no rights to feel the way that we feel. We can be told that we have no right to feel the way that we feel and also to be who we are. We have no rights to our identity and we have no rights to our story. We didn't make progress. The world didn't respond until they saw George Floyd filmed. They needed to see a man choked out for 8 minutes and 46 seconds for them to take some action. And as any people of color in the audience can recognize, you don't need to see that video to take action. You don't need it. You've lived it your whole life. You've been held down your whole life. You've been told your whole life that you're somebody that you're not. You've been denied permission to feel or permission to identify with who you are for so long. You don't need to see that video to already be enraged. And this march is for the people that have absolutely been given no dignity, no respect, and furthermore, been disrespected moving forward after the police have willfully murdered a black life, or a native life, or a brown life, and then retold that story afterwards. They will take your loved one, and they will say that it was justified, and then they will haunt you until you leave town.
Listen.
Again, they will take your loved one's life, they will retell their story, and then they will haunt you until you leave town. Tell me which white person that's happened to. And maybe it has, but this common story is all too at large with people of color. Hear this so many times. And again, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I've been here the whole time. I've been writing about it and been working with kids about it. I have not been on the front lines like a lot of these leaders that I really respect and look up to and am inspired by all the time. And when you hear the names, Kobe Heisler, Isaac Aiden, Marcus Golden, Travis Jordan, you just get the Rolodex of names in your head.
Listen.
And when you hear about Calvin Horton, you see a man who is shot in the street like an animal, and then his killer walks 2 days later, who's a white man. But he wasn't filmed. Alondra Cano, whose ward he was murdered in, shouted, "Defund the police," when she was held accountable because George Floyd was filmed, yet Calvin Horton doesn't get the same treatment. Calvin Horton doesn't even get his name said. How can you have council leaders that don't say the names of black folks who were murdered and still continue to lead? That's not a leader. And today, you're here because you're leading. You're here because you're taking accountability for your own city. You're here because they're not doing their job. You're here for all the lives that were not filmed. You're here to believe the stories.